Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a serial entrepreneur, international speaker, results strategist, business coach, mentor, and consultant. Today, I have an awesome guest. He's an entrepreneur, author, business coach, and CEO of Ecom Automation Gurus. He is an entrepreneur.com contributor and is featured in Forbes Next 1000, Entrepreneur, LA Weekly, Flaunt, Daily Caller, Thrive Global, and many more. He helps e-commerce businesses build an automated, highly profitable e-commerce store and get an extra 30 to 50 customers per month. Welcome, Kirk Cooper, and thank you for being on my show.
Thanks for having me, Athin. Excited to be here, buddy.
Awesome, mate. Sure, it's going to be an amazing podcast. So much value that you're going to be providing to everybody watching and listening today. So you're a very successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself by telling us about you and your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Kirk Cooper. I'm a former high school teacher and coach. I come from a long line of teachers and coaches in my family, and it was kind of the easy path, easy thing to kind of get into because I knew it and had an appreciation for it. And went on to be a collegiate athlete, and kind of at that point when I was getting out of college and really trying to determine, what it is I wanted to do, it kind of dawned on me that, I had a knack, I had a calling for helping people, wanting to help develop and grow people's opportunities, establishing relationships. And it kind of led me back, after some sales experience, led me back to getting my master's degree and becoming a high school teacher and coaching our track program. I coached football, I coached golf, a little bit of everything, just because it was something that was really influential for me. My teachers, my coaches were people that really motivated me to, to create the success and kind of go after my dreams athletically, academically. And really it was kind of that too, that ended up getting me to break free from teaching, get me, break free from coaching. It wasn't that I didn't love it. I absolutely loved it. I just didn't really enjoy putting everything I have into something and being paid what the chart says I'm going to be paid. I busted my butt for other people for many years, only to kind of make a nominal wage, a nominal salary. And, it's always been that way, but today's day and age. And I knew there was more to it. I knew how hard I worked and knew that you really, there's opportunities out there that are uncapped, and I wanted to put my best foot forward, and my competitiveness and my drive and aspiration to create the most for myself and for my family. And that's what I've done. I kind of dually taught and coached while starting my entrepreneurial journey. And it got to the point where it was pretty much a no-brainer that, cutting free. I wasn't going to be getting out of teaching and coaching. I still teach, I still coach, I still help, I still motivate. It's just in a different arena. And it's an arena that, one, allows me monetarily to be leaps and bounds above where I ever was, so that I have more time with my family, more time with my kids, getting to coach my kids' sports and be in their lives 100%, no distractions, because I've been able to build something out that I've been able to automate it. I've been able to delegate and to promote and bring people in who are probably 100 times smarter than I am and put them in positions that they're most successful. I'd say 10% of my business success is me. The other 90% of it are people that I've put into play that are passionate about what they do. And I'm very fortunate that they're in a position that reflects positively on myself, our company, their families, and everybody involved. So it's been an incredible journey, an incredible ride. Wouldn't trade it for the world, and just really blessed to be where I'm at.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Lovely story. And I can see the elite mentality there of the sports, and then, being the coach and stuff, which is really powerful. And, coaching, mentoring, you're still doing it now. So powerful, right? And, I think in business, right, like, in life, in sports, coaching is more utilized and more natural. But, business, it's starting to become a lot more needed, right, in business and things like that. Is that sort of what you're seeing and how it's helped you in your business journey as well?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people look to somebody that's been there, done that, and really kind of draw from and find their motivation to, whatever arena or avenue they go in. If it's not exactly what I've done, just by networking and working with people, I think, it's very true when they say you're a product of the people you hang out with. In the online space, you can really network with a lot of successful people. What do you deem successful? It's kind of up to you as an individual, but a lot of people do have a wealth factor into it. And people try to find people that are able to create and drum up wealth and passive streams of income, which is something I'm passionate about. So it's really cool to be able to network, because I've met so many people that I probably never would have ever met, because I met them through an online type community, and they've become, lifelong type friends, because we share, a lot of similarities in business and entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Awesome, mate. Love that. Completely agree with that. So powerful. So obviously you're fully into the e-commerce world, right? So do you want to maybe initially tell us a bit about the ins and outs of e-commerce startups and their management?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a million ways to skin a cat, especially in this industry. You kind of have to figure out what works for you and the type of approach that you want to take from it. I got into more of purchasing inventory, creating my own private label brands, and have had a lot of success with it. But initially, it was one of those things that I had to take a step back from, because I got knocked on my butt, pretty early on in the game. And I found that most of my success and momentum was created drop shipping, because I found it as, again, being a high school teacher and coach, I didn't have tons of cash at my disposal to really invest into a business. The most important asset I had was me, and knowing that, hey, I'll bust my butt. I'll, work from 9 p.m. till 2 a.m. and then get up and teach at 7 a.m. because it means something to me. I'm my greatest asset at that point. So it wasn't so much how much capital, but I found with drop shipping, I could list products, optimize listings, and the only time I'm responsible for purchasing it is after it's sold. So I really found a passion in that, is really, growing and optimizing my business. And every time something's sold, no problem, I'll go over and purchase it now, because I know that I've already rendered the sale. And at that point, I'm going to be able to then pay off my credit card. And then the difference is my net. And that really stuck with me and allowed me to really kind of grow, flourish, build out systems and automations of my own. But it still led me to having to be present 7 days a week, because I had to fulfill orders. I had to fulfill potential returns. There was no way around that stuff. So it's not like I ever got a day off or a night off per se. So I became a slave, really, another form of employment slavery. And it was at that point where I was like, man, I got to figure a way out here. And I interviewed to find a guy, girl, and I ended up finding a group of 6 guys who had been in the e-commerce space. So they had a good understanding, but I was able to train them and implement, and just like we're doing, except screen sharing. And I would teach and coach as I operated my store for 3 months, 3 nights a week for 4 hours a night. And then eventually I turned it over where I still signed on for a month and watched them operate it. If they had questions, I was able to answer them. So I was really a hands-on transition. And it got to the point where I was able to take my hands completely off of the business. It 10x, exponential growth. I was making more money. Now I was able to pay other people too, who were able to provide for their families. And at that point, it's a no-brainer. So we started to build the system and get into different universities, in different countries, and create an environment, a company-like environment where we built out a large team so that we could do this for other people. So other people could come in with no experience and be able to have a business 100% theirs. And the way we're paid is based on success. So a percentage of their net. So it's worked out incredibly. It's been great.
Yeah, awesome, mate. I love that. And really power of, scaling a business, getting that, the processes behind, and now for you to be able to do that for others, it sounds almost plug and play, which is amazing, right? And e-commerce,
Right.
like there's millions of products, right, that people can sell and things like that. And, what to do about it. The word innovation obviously comes up, like, what are we going to do a little bit differently? And I know I can see the way you think is differently. So if someone's coming in, from scratch and, they've got an idea or something like that, how do they then, you guys assist them, or how do we take that idea and, make it a reality as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. We do have clients that come in with, an existing background or product, or they've done some type of development, and we assist them and help them grow and run either marketing or, just full on management of their product and selling it. But honestly, I'd say 98% of our clients are just more of the investor type. They don't have any experience. They don't have any plans other than the fact that they go, hey, e-commerce is booming. It's not going anywhere. Why not get put my hand in the cookie jar and become an owner of an e-commerce store or business? If there's somebody out there that, allows me to not need to know how to run it or to be there to be present for it, we leverage our team, our systems, our expertise so that we can, again, leverage it across the board and get our hands in on all these different businesses and make a percentage of it by leveraging our expertise and experience, opposed to being capital bound and only being able to run a few stores on our own, 100% of our own capital and make 100% of the proceeds. So it makes a lot of sense for us to be able to, again, build out a large team and just have a percentage of all these stores and be able to run all of them and not have to bring capital to the table. The business owner does that. So we do all the product research, all the product listings, all the customer support, returns, refunds, you name it. And then we're tracking it on spreadsheets and everything. And then come month end, we let everything settle. We don't bill our clients right away. We wait a little while down so we know that they get paid and everything settles out. And then they pay us our percentage. And then they keep the larger percentage for themselves as the business owner. And it's worked out great. It's being able to leverage as a consultant, more than anything, a contractor, if you will, to help people create an additional stream of income without having to find the additional time to do it, so that they can hopefully have more time freedom for their families because they have an income coming in that they don't have to be present for, like most people do.
Yeah, awesome, mate. I love that. Really powerful, and yeah, just win-win all the way around for everything like that. So you talked a lot about your team and things like that, which is obviously crucial here for people to come in because they're leveraging your team, and leadership is a big part of that, right? You're scaling a business, you got to make sure that it's being led well, whether that's you directly or you have other leaders within the business. So how are you scaling and managing your team in that way, especially like in the remote world, right, that we are right now, that you may have people working in different areas around the world too?
Yeah, no, it's vital, honestly. I've gone through and pieced together the most important pieces are having, like you said, team leaders and having people over everything. And then really in the online space, what I have found to be the most valuable piece of the entire puzzle is having a client support where you can call them, text them, email them, whatever it is that you're most comfortable with and how you operate day to day. We want that comfort to be able to transition over. We don't want you to have to change, whatever it is you feel most comfortable doing. We have, representatives that are there who speak fluent English and are there to, research or explain or coach, teach, whatever they need to do to help the clients, put their mind at ease so they better understand something, to communicate, hey, we're at a transition point, or we're at a position here where we're going to start to optimize your store. So they just understand what's going on. They're the owner. They invested in this business model. They own it, and they have every right to ask these questions. We want to make sure that we're available for it. There's a lot of people out there that run similar type services, and that's the missing key, is they don't have somebody that's there to speak to all these clients that they onboard. And these clients naturally are going to have questions. They're going to have comments. They could have concerns. And then once they speak to somebody, oh, I get it now. I understand it. And I think that's a vital piece to the puzzle is making sure that the trust factor is there. We build out our character, our integrity. And I think that speaks volumes for itself, so that people can trust us. And then really, I've shut off our ads, about 2 months ago, because we get so much volume from current clients sending us referrals, family, friends, people that they network with. It's incredible. We haven't had to run ads now for a while because we're getting the quality people we want, because they're coming from quality people we already have in our system. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. I love it. The one-stop shop type of thing, and you understanding the pain points, right, of these people, and you're going, okay, how do we provide that service to them as the bonus? And I love that, mate. Yeah. Really powerful. So if someone's coming to you, from scratch, right, whether it's from the referral or whatever element, and they're like, hey, yeah, I want to build a store, sort of, how does that work with you? Because I'm assuming, it depends on how big they want to go or how small initially, because they're going to be putting in capital in and stuff like that as well. So how does it sort of look about, them building their own Amazon automation store?
Yeah, no, that's right. People are going to come in. We have clients that come in who have, access to $5,000, or we have clients come in and say, hey, I've got 200K on 3 business credit cards. Awesome. Well, they're going to be run very differently. Not to say the 5K is run differently in the sense of the model and approach. No, that's all the same, but very differently in the sense of how you scale and how you grow and how you can, successfully scale that business to different tiers so that you see and reap, the benefits of that type of capital that you have access to. If you've got 200K, capital, I mean, you could technically do anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000 in revenue with that, because you're paid every 2 weeks, right? Somebody with 5,000, $7,500 to $5,000, because you're paid every 2 weeks. So you got to be able to kind of scale it appropriately, knowing that you're not going to outkick your coverage, if you will, and you do all these sales, and now you don't have the capital at hand to purchase the products after they sell, because you don't get that money from your customer right away. Yes, it's sold, it's rendered, but it goes into a two-week payout window before you get paid. So you get it before it's time to pay your credit card, but you still have to have the capital to buy the product, get it shipped to your customer in a timely fashion. So that capital, plays into the game plan, that how we grow and scale these businesses. So you can make a heck of a lot more money if you have more capital to, at your disposal. And then 2, the credit card rewards, travel rewards, cash back, that's huge as well. And sometimes, adds an extra $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month to some of these businesses, because they have cards and those relationships with those banks that make it a win-win type situation for them in that banking relationship. So it is all scaled based on the amount of capital that they can bring forth, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. What I love is that, depending, no matter what level the person is at technically or how much capital they have, there's still a solution for it,
Yeah,
and being
absolutely.
able to grow from there, which is awesome to help everybody there. Love it, mate. So, there's a lot of competition, online these days, a lot of these types of things. So, what's a key way of us to, to stand out from the crowd, I guess, from, everyone that's out there trying to take their piece of the pie?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, for us, the competition, there's a ton of different people, guys, girls, systems, operations. Really what we found where we kind of separate from others is our support. That's where we found that we are different than other people, because we've had people come to us that have been in this system, that system. I couldn't get a hold of anybody over there, and they end up leaving there, and they understand that the business model's there, but they've got to find somebody that they can work with. And when they realize that coming over to EAG, that they have somebody they can call, text, email, just having somebody they can hop on the phone and discuss their business, that's vital, because these people who are getting into these models with somebody overseas who doesn't speak English, they're relying on email correspondence, and a lot of times a lot of broken English and misunderstandings, and that drives people up a wall when they've got their money invested into something like that. Here, when you can hop on the phone and speak to somebody fluent in English and be able to correspond and discuss their business, that helps put their mind at ease and helps them realize that, okay, because everyone wants to resort to the thought of a scam, right? When it's online. Here, it allows them to put their mind at ease. We can screen share, pull up their storefronts, go through and do introductions and tutorials and help them understand how they can manage their business or see their business from the back end while we manage the business. And it just helps people put their mind at ease. So that's honestly been the biggest piece for us, as far as separating ourselves from others is transparency and integrity. And that just spreads like a wildfire. When you do things the right way, people share it, and you start to network with other people that you wouldn't have otherwise networked with, and create relationships, and all of a sudden start doing business with them. And I've got clients that have introduced me to other opportunities that make money and help people. And that's the coolest thing in the world is being able to diversify and grow and spread.
Yeah, love it, mate. Completely agree. It's what it's all about, diversification and growing together, building our wealth so we get more of that time freedom and everything else back. Love it. So There's a lot of people that want to start a business, right? But they're hesitant in whatever way because maybe they haven't done it again, or maybe they've had challenges in the past where they failed and it didn't really happen for them. So what advice would you give to someone, that's wanting to start a business, but they're a bit hesitant?
That's good. It's tough because I would be somebody that would be in favor of telling somebody, hey, fully commit and go in so that you don't kind of fall short and wonder what if. But that's not how I did it. I remained being a teacher. I remained being a coach. This was something that, I was moonlighting. I was doing this at night because I wanted the opportunity to make a little extra money. I in no way, shape, or form intended for this to grow into what it was. I literally thought I was just going to run my own e-commerce storefront, try to make an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, and I would have been over the moon ecstatic. But one thing led to another, and that's kind of the whole point here and purpose here is you won't know unless you get in, jump into the game. Failure is okay. A lot of people think, oh my God, I can't afford to fail. Yeah, I get that, especially when we're talking, you've got a bunch of money or something leveraged in something and you can't afford to fail. I totally get that. But the saying that if you don't try, you won't know. If you don't try, you don't know. If I never got out of my comfort zone, and my comfort zone is teaching and coaching where, hey, I know I'm being paid this, as long as I show up and I don't break any laws, I'm pretty good to go. That was my comfort zone. I knew that I had that in play, but I also knew that there's bigger and better out there. And I don't want to be 65 years old and in the, approaching the last quarter of the game and not have my best shape, health, mindset to do all the things that I've wanted to do. No, I want to do that now in my 30s and enjoy life as I grow an empire and as I grow a business and teach my kids, about, business opportunity and how to grow, scale, and build out the life that everyone deserves. So get in the game. I mean, it's hard for me to tell anybody just to cut clean and forget about what it is they do. It's hard for me to say that, but you have more time to commit to it that way.
Yeah, I love it, mate. So true. And I think it's an inflection point, right? Like you're normally doing something, but it gets to the point where you have to go all in. Just make sure that you've done your numbers, you got a bit of, you know what your cash flow is, you got a bit of money there to help you along the journey. And I'm sure like with the way that you would work, I guess you would give, depending on how much they're investing into the business, you could give them projections as well, saying, hey, this is what, the range will be or something of what you'll get. So they have a good understanding of, when they're going to receive the money and, how many products and things like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can definitely base it off of, hey, if you have this much capital to cycle, then this is the ability. This is what the reality is. Can you make more? Sure. Could you make less? Absolutely. But the sweet spot there is going to be in this window. Because at the end of the day, we don't have control over Amazon, their algorithms and their automations, but they've changed things on us before. You pivot, you adjust, we've got so many minds, brilliant minds that are working within our system that we figure things out. Have we been thrown curveballs before? Absolutely. 100%. Constantly getting thrown curveballs, but when you build something out and it's just kind of ingrained in you, to fight, scratch, claw, pivot, and you find ways to make things work and be successful. So it's part of the game, and that's what people would find out if they did this on their own. And that's why 9 out of 10 of these online businesses fail, is because they get punched in the mouth figuratively and they just don't know what to do at that point. Whereas if you've been in it a while and you've had these adversities come up, you learn how to, how to work with them and how to pivot through them and still remain successful, come out ahead. It's kind of it's a skill that you learn, you adapt to it.
Definitely, mate. Love it. And I'm going to put it out there. Like, where do you see the future going? Because obviously it's growing e-commerce, right? A lot of people have been locked down for a while. There's a lot more online sales, right? Where people are buying things. They're not going into stores as much. Where do you see that heading in the future? And, even like my thoughts, for example, are, at some point they're probably going to get drones or something, to deliver these things to us, as like that type of stuff there. So I'd be interested to hear about, the trends and what you think is going to be envisioning as well.
Yeah. Well, I know with like the whole, COVID pandemic and whatnot, the biggest change that we saw was more of the elderly community was starting to buy online more. The people that relied on either themselves going into the grocery store once a week, once every 2 weeks, and purchasing their necessities, or having a family member, a caregiver, whatever, doing that for them. It really quickly transitioned where the spike in sales, and when you're able to go through and review analytics and see exactly the age range, male, female, we're able to break all that stuff down. It's pretty cool, kind of creepy, but pretty cool. And the increase on, the elderly, and we're talking even 70 plus of them going and learning how to purchase online and getting out of their comfort zone of, the face-to-face type interactions. It was kind of a make or break situation with this pandemic originally. And a lot of them have stuck to it. They haven't gone back to, oh my gosh, this is great, I can order online. They haven't gone back to the, in-store type shopping. And that's really been the biggest pickup, which is really neat to kind of note and kind of take note too. It's really increased, just overall e-commerce sales, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome, mate. Yeah, I think it's interesting for the physical stores. I think there's going to be still some element like maybe trying on clothes or shoes and things like that, where you sort of need to test them. But for a lot of products, it's like I'm buying a bathroom scale. Do you really need to try that on? Not really, right? You can buy that online or other items there. So yeah, very interesting, mate. Love it. Very interesting. Yeah, I noticed with my mother-in-law, she'd never bought online. She's not even that old, but she was because she just loved going in store. It was like an experience. But now it's like, okay. Yeah. Then she's like, wait a minute, I'm actually getting things cheaper now that I'm looking online and stuff like that. Like, it opens people's minds up, right? It's very, very interesting as well.
Yeah. Well, and that's the kind of thing with the business model is because we use softwares to scrape, one supplier or platform to sell it on another platform. And that's what we're looking for is, massive price differences. There's people that arbitrage in person. They'll go into a store and find their clearance rack. There's an app you can scan it with and see what it's listed for, the lowest selling price on Amazon at that point. Oh, $60 difference. Oh, I'm going to list it now, which you can do from your phone. Walk over to the checkout, purchase the product, and who knows, before you get home, maybe you sell that product and you make your quick $60. So we're just doing it in an online way, an online arbitrage. That'd be like more of a physical arbitrage, which many people do and many people have a lot of success with.
Yeah, love it. Well, online is more scalable, more automated. So definitely a better sustainable business model. So love it, mate.
Yeah.
Really cool. So obviously you went as well from being a business owner to now being an author. So do you want to maybe tell us about the book and about book writing in general, right? Because I think everybody's like, yeah, I should write a book, but it's maybe this big thing. And yeah, your experience with it too.
Yeah, no, that's great because, excuse me, it was one of those things that, if you were to ask me years ago, man, sorry, it was a bucket list type thing for me. I want to write a book. I want to be able to, what would I write a book about? If you asked me 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I have no clue, but it was always a dream of mine to be able to write a book. So when I got into a position where I was like, you know what, the story's there. It's really cool to be able to share because a lot of people are just mesmerized by, oh my gosh, you were a teacher and a coach to now doing what you're doing and the success that I've created and the opportunities that we create. I was like, yeah, I don't know if it's something I want to write. It's not really story worthy to write a full, book about it. So what I really kind of dove into was I made each chapter a characteristic of a successful entrepreneur and dove in with different stories and examples and ways to convey and present, why, character is important. You can flip through the book and there's chapters in there on resiliency, being resilient, when you get knocked on your butt, an example of, resiliency for myself. And it just goes through each chapter with a different characteristic. And I really think it's kind of more of a manual for people that are in a discovery, zone where they're trying to figure out, is this for me? Maybe they'll find motivation. And that's really what the book's written for is, if I can motivate one person, then I've done what I've set out to do. If I can make a difference in one person's life. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback on it. It's easy to read. And it's something that, I'd encourage people to go on and check it out. And, maybe you'll find something in there that kind of flips on the light switch and lights the light bulb and sets you off, and you're on your way to creating an opportunity for yourself. Because that's the thing is you just got to start. It's not difficult to do once you get in the game, especially the online space. There is 3 billion ways to make money online. You know, find a way that you can be passionate about it. You can make a difference, change people's lives. You know, the more lives you change, the more money you can make. And I encourage everybody to go after it. But the whole writing the book was a great experience, and you know, it'll probably lead to potentially writing another one eventually. But it was a good entry point to kind of creating a manual for people that want to be entrepreneurs, or what it's like to be a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Very cool. And, you know, a lot of people talk about success, but not everyone likes to talk about the failures or challenges a lot of the time, even though there are so many, right? Like, you'll know that it's an up and down game, right? You know, especially at the start when you're getting into business, until you've, you know, properly automated things. So do you want to maybe share one of your biggest business failures or challenges and how you overcame it as well?
Yeah. So it wasn't in necessarily the ecom space. One of my really good friends and I, we set out and started a business we called Base Bands. And what they were leather bracelets with the lacing on them. They were baseball bracelets that you could customize. And it had, you know, kind of an elastic piece to it so that they could slide over somebody's hand and then, you know, grip back to the wrist. You could customize it with your team logo, your name, numbers, you know, whatever you wanted. And we got into it to be more of a fundraising type tactic for these teams where, you know, say they bought 500 of them for $2 a piece from us, then we give them the rights to turn around and sell them for $10 a pop and raise funds for their organization. And the product and the idea, everything in there was awesome. Is incredible because we came up from, you know, that sports background and had a passion for baseball and the baseball community around us. And the big piece to it here was that neither one of us were willing to break away from our safety net, you know, our 9 to 5. For me, teaching, you know, for him, he's an insurance agent. We just didn't feel like, okay, we got to quit our jobs and go try to push this and promote it and brand it and get it into Major League Baseball stadiums and taking it the whole 9 yards. That's where we went wrong, is we didn't fully commit to this model and to this idea. I still have thousands of pieces of products, you know, in my basement, you know, and I'll always remember it. I kept my first heat press, the heat press that I would hand make and put on the customizations and all that stuff, because it was a reminder to me of how terrible it felt to fail, And the reason for the failure was my own fault, is because I had that scarcity mindset. And that's something I talk about in the book too. Scarcity mindset will be potentially what makes or breaks, you know, of your ability to get out of that mindset. Or if you stay with that mindset, it'll make or break your entrepreneurial journey, because that scarcity mindset is real, one. And if you can find a way to move through it and understand and accept the risks, at that point, you open yourself up to all the opportunities of success. And, you know, if I took the time now today, I think I could go make that business a success, but now it's about time and resources. And, you know, when you have something that you're already very successful with, it's kind of hard to break through and do it, but that was it. It was a motivator. It lit a fire under my butt, and I'll never forget that. And I'm thankful for it. So that's a perfect example of failure in a positive light. What failure can do for you if you have the mindset to accept it, embrace it, and move on and advance through it.
Yeah, love that story, mate. Really powerful, and you know, shows your mindset, you know, for everyone here about, you know, it could be the same reason why you can't, the same reason why you can, right? With these reasons. So what do you choose to do about it? Are you going to rise up to the occasion, you know, and go, how do I work this out? And, you know, if you don't know, can you get someone to help you, right? Get coaches and mentors or other people around you, right? To be like, hey, can you help me with this? Because there's always, the knowledge is out there, right? We'll never know anything ourselves. Yes. There's always someone that knows it pretty much, right? In the world. It's like, how do you find that person or people, that company, whatever it is, and, you know, to get us to that result. So love it, mate. And, you know, I love the reminder as well that you've kept it. And I'm sure that's been driving you forward. It's like, I don't want to go back there again to that stage. Yeah. So I'm full steam ahead, right?
Exactly. No, absolutely.
Love it, mate. So it's been awesome. You've been sharing so much awesome value today. As we're, I guess, wrapping up here today, what one key piece of advice would you give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
Yeah. So my book is called Scratch and Claw. It's a saying that my dad used to say. He was a high school teacher and coach. So that's probably my biggest piece of motivation. And I gave that as a coach to my athletes, and something that I've shared with many aspiring entrepreneurs is that mindset. You got to be able to scratch and claw. You're going to, as we just discussed, you're going to get knocked on your butt. Not, it's not going to always be roses. It's not going to always be successful, but if you have the mindset to scratch and claw, persevere, grow, scale, up level your life, you're going to change not just your life, you're going to change a lot of lives around you. And that's the most incredible feeling in the world. Don't give up. Anybody can do it. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, I can assure you that. But I've definitely worked my butt off, and I've faced adversity, and scratch and claw, go after it.
Yeah, love it, mate. Scratch and claw is what it's all about. Completely agree. So yeah, we connected through our networks where I learned about your awesome journey from starting multiple businesses to now being, the CEO of Ecom Automation Gurus, where you help e-commerce businesses build an automated, highly profitable e-commerce store and get an extra 30 to 50 customers per month. You're an awesome guy, so knowledgeable with a lot of wisdom, and I'm sure you continue to help business owners to grow and scale. Very grateful that we connected, and I look forward to working with you in the future. So Kirk, how can people find you and get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So if they're interested in getting more information, speaking to somebody on the phone, we've got guys and girls that do discovery calls, no pressure, literally just explain what we do and what we can offer to people. They can go onto our website, Ecom, E-C-O-M, 1M, Ecom Automation Gurus, Gurus.com, and they can book a call on there. They can connect with me on Facebook. Just type in Kirk Cooper. Got a little blue check mark there on Facebook. You can find me there, or on Instagram, just CEO Kirk Cooper on Instagram, and we can connect. Definitely like to meet people and network, and if they've got opportunities to share, I'm always looking for additional opportunities. And yeah, would love to network with as many people as possible and see if we can get them in the e-commerce space and change some lives.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Definitely check out Kirk. So much awesome value, and I'm sure he can help a lot of people out there. So thank you, everyone, for watching and listening to this show where we talk about everything on business growth. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. I completely agree with you, or do I? The only way we know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So remember to design your growth and results.